Though Richard Burton's reputation as a talented actor is well known, questions about his honesty and integrity have arisen over the years. Many wonder whether his charisma and reputation mask someone who may have been deceptive or even a fraud. He was known for his intense performances and magnetic presence on stage and screen, yet behind his fame, some critics and acquaintances suggest he sometimes exaggerated his achievements or portrayed a persona that was not entirely true. His relationships with top actresses and his lavish lifestyle may have been fueled by a desire to impress and maintain an image, leading some to believe he crafted a carefully constructed identity rather than a genuine one. However, others argue that his self-doubt and personal struggles fueled his behavior, making him more complex than a simple facade. While his talent is undeniable, the speculation about whether Richard Burton was a fraud persists, especially when examining the gaps between his public persona and his private life. Throughout his career, there are moments where his statements and actions seem out of sync, fueling the ongoing debate. As we explore these aspects, it becomes clear that Richard Burton's life was filled with contradictions, leading some to question whether he was the man he appeared to be or something other than what he seemed. Despite his fame and success as an actor, Richard Burton was truly a passionate and emotional man. He cared deeply about his friends and often showed a genuine warmth that made him memorable to those close to him. However, behind this warm exterior, there was a complex and sometimes conflicting character. According to his diaries, he was not just the passionate actor he appeared to be. He concealed a dual persona that revealed a different side of him. In these diaries, he exposed a version of himself that others did not see, detailing moments of doubt, regret, and feelings of being a fraud. He admitted that he sometimes felt he was living a lie or playing a role far from who he really was. Burton was also a dedicated writer who kept detailed records of his inner thoughts, revealing his true feelings and fears. These revelations showed that he was not afraid to be brutally honest about his flaws and shortcomings. In particular, he made a startling confession that he saw himself as a sellout. This meant he believed that in some ways he had compromised his values or been drawn into acting for fame and money rather than for genuine passion. His diaries, with these honest disclosures, paint a picture of a man struggling to reconcile his internal emotions with the image he projected to the outside world. Burton's dual nature and his written revelations offer a deep insight into the man behind the fame, showing that even someone celebrated for their talent can have a complex and imperfect soul. Certainly, here is the detailed text based on the provided summary. Richard Burton, one of the most talented actors of his time, carried a deep sense of regret and shame about his career choices. Despite his fame and success, he believed that he had wasted his incredible talent by choosing to appear in Hollywood movies instead of focusing solely on stage acting. Burton often felt that the thrill and authenticity of live theater had been lost in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood productions. This regret grew stronger as he aged, and he openly admitted that he had always harbored a secret shame about being an actor. The more years he spent in the public eye, the more he felt the weight of this shame, believing that his true potential had been betrayed by his decisions to seek fame in the film industry. For Burton, acting on stage was the true art, the pure form of expression, but circumstances, and perhaps personal desires led him away from that path. As he looked back on his life, he sometimes felt that he had missed the opportunity to fully realize his talent in its most genuine form. This internal struggle and sense of disappointment haunted him, shaping his view of his own career and legacy. Burton's feelings of regret and shame reveal a human side to a man celebrated for his talent, highlighting the complexity of his emotions and the costs of fame. Richard Burton was a renowned actor who gained more acclaim on the stage than he did in films. Even during times when his film career needed a boost, he chose to focus on the theater. He believed that the stage allowed him to better showcase his talent and passion for acting. Burton appeared in many important plays, but he was especially known for his role in Henry V, which is a classic work by William Shakespeare. His performance in Shakespeare's plays earned him high praise and helped cement his reputation as a talented and serious actor. Despite his success in movies and television, Burton always valued the experience and recognition he received from live theater performances. His dedication to the stage shows how much he appreciated the art of acting and his desire to connect with audiences directly. Burton's choice to prioritize theater over screen in difficult times demonstrates his belief in the power and importance of theater in an actor's career. Overall, he remains remembered for his impressive stage work, especially his portrayal of Shakespeare's characters. Richard Burton's portrayal of Henry V marked a significant milestone in his acting career. The performance took place at the London Olivia Theatre, a renowned venue known for hosting important theatrical productions. His portrayal of the Shakespearean king was widely praised, attracting attention from both critics and audiences. Not only did the show receive high praise, but it also turned out to be a commercial success, bringing in a substantial amount of money from ticket sales and becoming a box office hit. This combination of critical acclaim and financial gain established the production as a major triumph. As a result of his outstanding performance, Richard Burton was awarded the Theatre Award for Best Actor, a recognition that acknowledged his talent and contribution to the success of the show. The victory solidified his reputation as a leading actor of his time, and highlighted his ability to bring Shakespeare's complex characters to life on stage. His performance in Henry V remains a memorable highlight in his career, demonstrating his skill and dedication to the craft of acting. The success at the Olivia Theatre underscored Burton's rising fame and his capacity to captivate audiences with his powerful performances. This achievement helped secure his place among the top actors of his era and contributed to his legacy in theatrical history. Starting with his nicknames, Richard Burton was often called the Welsh Wizard due to his Welsh roots and his remarkable talent that seemed almost magical. The nickname highlighted his reputation as a gifted performer who could easily captivate audiences with his voice and acting skills. Over time, he became known for other nicknames as well, which reflected his fame and the admiration people felt for his work. These nicknames helped to cement his position as one of the most recognizable actors of his era. However, behind the fame and the praise, some wonder about the mindset Burton had regarding his career. Despite his talent, he was sometimes labeled a sellout, as if he had abandoned his artistic integrity for commercial success. This label makes people curious about what motivated him to make certain career choices. It is hard to understand how someone so talented could seem indifferent to his career's future, especially after experiencing a series of films that did not do well at the box office. If he truly didn't care about his career trajectory, it would explain why he might have taken roles in these less successful films. Yet, some argue that he was simply experimenting or seeking new challenges, even if it meant risking his reputation. The question remains whether Burton's actions were driven by a desire for artistic growth, or by a mindset that prioritized fame and money over quality work. His willingness to appear in movies that were not hits can be seen as part of this complex mindset. Ultimately, his career was full of different phases, some successful and some less so, but always marked by his incredible talent and the many nicknames that celebrated his formidable presence in Hollywood. This duality between his artistic reputation and the critique of being a sellout continues to intrigue fans and critics alike, leaving a lasting impression of Burton as a figure who balanced fame with personal ambition. After hearing about Richard Burton, one cannot overlook his deep dedication to his craft and his unwavering commitment to his roles. At one point in his career, he was offered a very lucrative film deal worth $1 million. Despite the significant financial gain, Richard chose to decline the offer because he was fully committed to performing Hamlet on stage. He believed that his responsibility as an actor was to bring the character to life in front of a live audience, and he was willing to sacrifice wealth for the sake of artistic integrity. During that time, the production of Hamlet only paid him £150 a week, but that did not matter to him. His passion for the play and his respect for the role kept him focused, and he did not let money influence his decision or create any regret. Richard Burton was known for pouring his heart into performances, and his dedication to Hamlet was no different. When he finally took the stage to perform the famous Shakespeare tragedy, he delivered a performance that was powerful and memorable. His focus and commitment shone through every line and gesture, and he earned wide praise for his portrayal. Burton showed that true passion for acting meant prioritizing the art and the audience over material gain, and that sometimes sacrifices are necessary to achieve greatness. His performance of Hamlet remains a testament to his love for theater and his belief that dedicated work can create something extraordinary. Richard Burton delivered an extraordinary performance that left a lasting impression on everyone who watched it. His acting was so convincing and powerful that Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister at the time, publicly praised him for his exceptional skill and talent. Churchill's praise was not just a passing compliment. It reflected how deeply impressed he was by Burton's ability to bring the role to life. The words of praise from such a prominent figure added to the actor's reputation and showed how highly regarded Burton had become. However, it was not only Churchill who was amazed by his performance. Burton's colleagues, fellow actors, and performers also watched in awe as he portrayed his character with passion, precision, and an apparent deep understanding of the role. Many of them found themselves inspired and impressed by the way he pulled off such a demanding performance. His acting style combined intensity and subtlety, making every scene memorable and engaging. Burton's dedication to his craft was clear, and his colleagues often regarded him as a talented and committed artist. His ability to captivate audiences and critics alike was evident in moments like this, where even the most distinguished and influential figures recognized his exceptional talent. The praise from Churchill and the admiration of Burton's colleagues highlighted not only his skill, but also the respect and admiration he earned through constant hard work and natural talent. Burton's performances continue to be remembered as some of the most compelling and influential in theatrical history, inspiring many to follow in his footsteps. His reputation as an outstanding actor was built on the recognition he received from both the highest levels of government and his peers in the acting world. Such moments of praise and awe contributed to the legacy that Richard Burton left behind in the arts. Although Richard Burton is best known for his powerful performances on stage and in films, he also had a deep love for writing. Some believe that Burton once made a remark about being a sellout because Hollywood drew him away from his true passion of writing. This suggests that he felt torn between his career as an actor and his old love for putting words on paper. Burton was also a writer outside of acting. He kept diaries where he recorded his thoughts and feelings about life, work, and the world around him. These diaries show a side of him that was not just an actor, but a reflective person who enjoyed expressing himself through writing. It is known that he used writing to explore his inner self and to process the many experiences he went through during his acting career. Although he gained fame and recognition in films, writing remained an important part of his life. Perhaps he saw acting as a different kind of art, one that sometimes distracted him from his true creative passion of writing. Still, his diaries and other writings reveal how much he valued the act of writing and how it helped him understand himself better amidst the fame and pressures of Hollywood. His words show a man who, despite his success in acting, never lost touch with the importance of his original craft. Burton's story is one of balancing two worlds, showing that even a great actor can hold on to his love for writing and express that side of himself in many ways. Richard Burton was a man who had a great love for writing. Throughout his life, he carried loose papers in his pocketbooks, writing whenever inspiration struck him or when he found spare time. His collection of writings grew over the years, and by the end of his life, he had more than 400,000 words written down. Burton believed that this extensive amount of writing could help him gain a broader education, similar to what he might have learned at a university like Oxford. He thought that if he studied there, he could earn a degree and then teach others about what he had learned. Burton also dreamed of writing books, sharing his ideas and stories with the world. His dedication to writing showed how much he valued knowledge and education, even if he did not have formal schooling. He kept writing close to him, making notes and jotting down thoughts from his experiences and imagination. Burton's writings were not just random notes, but a reflection of his desire to learn, teach, and make a lasting contribution through his books. His vast collection of words was a testament to his passion for knowledge and his hope that one day his writing would open doors to new opportunities and allow him to teach and write for many years to come. Although Richard Burton was a highly sought-after actor who often found his career interfering with his personal time, he demonstrated a deep respect for his commitments and passions beyond acting. Despite his busy schedule and the demand for his performances, he made time to write and publish articles about subjects close to his heart, including rugby and Wales from his beloved country. These articles showed his genuine interest in the world outside the theater and his desire to share his knowledge and thoughts with others. His choice to accept the role of Hamlet, even when offered a lucrative $1 million contract, proved how much he valued the art of acting and believed in doing meaningful work. This decision set him apart from many who might have chosen money over passion. People admired him for this because it showed that Burton was not a sellout who only cared about wealth. Instead, he was an artist who put his integrity and craft first. Ironically, by choosing art over money, Burton earned even more respect from those who felt he truly cared about acting and staying true to his principles. His dedication to his craft and his passions kept him grounded, even as fame and demands increased, and his actions left a lasting impression that many still remember today. Certainly. Here is the detailed text based on your instructions. Richard Burton, a renowned actor known for his powerful performances and commanding presence on screen, often found himself in a complex situation when it came to choosing his roles in Hollywood. Honestly, we understand where the actor was coming from and why he would think so low of himself. Many of his films in Hollywood were not really great vehicles for his talent. Despite his immense skill and dedication, Burton frequently appeared in movies that did not fully showcase his abilities or allow him to shine as brightly as he could. This often left him feeling frustrated and disheartened about his career choices. Most of the time, his motivation for selecting certain films was not driven solely by the desire to find the perfect role or to challenge himself artistically. Instead, he was often motivated by financial reasons, seeking the stability and security that good-paying projects could provide. This means that many of the films he appeared in were not necessarily the best fit for his unique talent or artistic aspirations. As a result, Burton sometimes felt he was not living up to his true potential because he was taking roles that didn't truly match his capabilities or allow him to display his full range as an actor. Despite these difficulties, his talent remained undeniable, and his performances in other projects, especially outside Hollywood, often received high praise and contributed to his lasting legacy in the world of cinema. However, his choices in Hollywood can be seen as a reflection of the complicated nature of fame and the harsh realities that many actors face when balancing art and finance. In the end, Burton's story reminds us that actors often have to make difficult choices, sometimes compromising their artistic integrity for economic stability, which can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction with their career trajectory. While filming a particular scene, Joan Collins, who played the female lead opposite Richard Burton, described an incident that revealed Burton's attitude on set. She explained that Burton's behavior was marked by a sense of indifference, showing little concern for the scene or even the work being done. Instead, she noticed that his focus appeared to be solely on himself and making sure he got paid. Collins felt that Burton's attitude reflected a lack of interest in the role or the team, giving the impression that he saw acting more as a job than a craft to be perfecting. This incident stood out to her, and others, as it seemed to overshadow the professionalism expected on a film set. It was a moment that many could point to in understanding how Burton's attitude could sometimes be seen as detached or self-absorbed, particularly during this project. Such behavior was noted by Collins as indicative of Burton's approach during this period, emphasizing his focus on financial reward over the collaborative spirit of filmmaking. This incident remains a notable example of the complex and sometimes inconsistent attitude Burton could display during his career, highlighting moments when professionalism seemed to take a back seat to personal priorities. After the Henry V stage production, which played a significant role in helping Richard Burton revive and improve his acting career, he quickly found himself faced with new challenges. Instead of taking time to carefully consider his options or to learn more about his next project, Burton made a swift decision. When the director Roberto Rossellini approached him about starring in the film Sea Wife, Burton did not ask many questions or do detailed research about the movie. Instead, he simply signed up for the role right away. This decision marked a departure from the careful choices he might have made earlier in his career. Because he did not spend time understanding or preparing for the film, his involvement in Sea Wife did not go as smoothly as his previous work. This move off track showed how sometimes quick decisions can have consequences in an actor's career. Burton's choice reflected a period of uncertainty and perhaps a lack of attention to detail, highlighting how even talented actors can face difficulties when they do not take the time to understand their projects fully. As a result, his career experienced a moment of instability, which was different from the steady progress he had made after his successful stage performances. His quick signing on without thorough research was a turning point that affected his career trajectory during that time. Despite Richard Burton's celebrated career, the film Sea Wife faced significant production issues that impacted its overall success. During filming, the director had frequent disagreements with the studio that was funding the project. These fights centered around the creative direction of the film and disagreements over how the story should be told. The conflicts caused delays and unrest on set, making it difficult to maintain a smooth production process. Eventually, the director decided to leave the project in frustration, leaving the studio in a difficult position. To keep the film moving forward, the studio appointed Bob McNaught, who was the executive producer, as the new director. His takeover was an attempt to salvage the project, But it proved to be too late. The film was released to poor reviews and failed to attract audiences. Critics did not praise it, and it did not perform well at the box office, proving to be a thorough flop. The troubled production and creative conflicts ultimately contributed to the film's failure, overshadowing the work of the actors involved, including Richard Burton. The problems during the production process became a notable part of the film's history, reflecting how internal conflicts can sometimes doom a project before it even reaches the audience. After marrying Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton began to carefully select the films he wished to be part of. Before their union, Burton admitted that his approach to choosing roles was driven largely by the potential to make money. He openly acknowledged that this method was flawed, but the marriage to Taylor changed his perspective. He no longer chose movies based on how much money they could earn him, which marked a significant shift in his career. Taylor had a strong influence on him, encouraging him to think more deeply about the roles he took on. This change in approach highlighted that Burton, despite his earlier focus on financial gain, did care more about his career than he often let on. Taylor, with her wisdom and experience, helped guide him toward a more thoughtful and meaningful selection of films. Marlon Brando and Richard Burton reportedly had a feud over Elizabeth Taylor, at least according to Anna Cashby, Marlon's ex-wife, who detailed this in her book Brando for Breakfast. According to Cashby, it seemed believable that Brando and Burton exchanged blows over the beautiful actress. Their rivalry wasn't unprecedented, as Taylor had a way of inspiring fierce competition between men. This wasn't the first time men had fought over her. For example, Eddie Fisher famously left his wife, Debbie Fisher, to be with Elizabeth, showing just how far some men would go for her. Elizabeth Taylor's beauty and charm were such that men often made bold, and sometimes reckless decisions in pursuit of her love. This type of behavior surrounding her personal life painted her as a woman capable of turning heads and stirring emotions, not just with her career but with the intense relationships she fostered. Both Brando and Burton, major stars in their own right, were drawn into a battle for Taylor's affections. But it was clear that Taylor was the center of the drama, as men competed for her attention without regard for the consequences. Many people have heard stories about Richard Burton, one of the most famous actors of his time. One story that has circulated involves a rumored fight. According to Anna Burton, Richard's wife, she and his friend got into a heated argument while they were on a yacht. During this argument, Anna claimed that Richard and his friend ended up punching each other out. She described the incident as something intense and emotional that happened suddenly during their time on the boat. However, despite Anna's account, there is no mention of this fight in Richard Burton's personal diary. His diary was well known for being detailed and thorough, and if such a fight had occurred, it likely would have been recorded because Burton was very meticulous about writing about his experiences and feelings. The absence of any mention in his diary has led many to question whether this fight really took place, or if it is just an exaggerated story from Anna. Some think that Anna might have remembered the event differently, or perhaps there was some misunderstanding. Others believe it could be a rumor that was passed along without any solid proof. Because the story is only told by Anna, and there are no other witnesses or written records to support it, it remains unconfirmed. Still, it adds to the many stories and myths that surround Richard Burton's life, making him even more intriguing to those who are interested in his history. Fans and biographers often look for more evidence before accepting such stories as true, but in this case, there is no concrete proof apart from Anna's statement. Despite the excitement such a story might cause, it stays just as a rumor. The fact remains that Richard Burton's own writings do not support this story, and that makes it difficult to know what really happened on that yacht. Many continue to speculate, but without additional evidence, the story remains unverified and part of the many tales that surround this legendary actor. Later in his life, Richard Burton reflected on his thoughts about Marlon Brando, and the only mention he made of Brando in his diaries was one of praise. Burton believed that Brando was an exceptionally intelligent man, someone with a deep understanding of his craft and an insightful mind. However, Burton also acknowledged that Brando seemed to carry a heavy burden, which he described as a cross too heavy for him to bear. Burton saw this as a sign that the pressures of early success and the weight of such immense talent could be overwhelming. Burton suggested that Brando, despite his brilliance, was vulnerable to the intense demands of Hollywood and the expectations that came with greatness. He thought that Brando's burden was like a heavy cross that he struggled to carry, hinting at the personal toll that fame and talent sometimes take on even the most gifted actors. Burton's words reflected a sense of sympathy and understanding that everyone, no matter how talented, faces struggles beneath the surface. The brief note showed Burton's respect for Brando's intelligence, but also revealed a quiet awareness that success can sometimes be a heavy load to bear, especially for those with exceptional talent. Despite their different styles and careers, Burton saw something similar in both men, a recognition of the cost of greatness that many fail to see. Later, Richard Burton expressed his thoughts about Marlon Brando's talent, and shared a personal view on their relationship. He mentioned that he had once criticized Brando, suggesting that Brando had the potential to become the biggest film star in history. Burton believed that Brando's acting ability and presence on screen were exceptional, and that he could have surpassed many others in the industry. At the same time, Burton questioned why he had any reason to fight with Marlon Brando, especially considering the possibility of a deeper connection between them. He hinted that there might have been a romantic relationship, or at least some attraction that could have influenced their interactions. Burton's words show that he admired Brando's talent greatly, but also hint at complex feelings that went beyond just acting. His comments reveal a mixture of respect and personal reflection, indicating that their relationship was more complicated than it appeared on the surface. Burton's perspective gives insight into how he viewed Brando, not only as a peer, but also as someone who might have shared a more intimate bond. Throughout his life, Burton was known for his honesty about his feelings, and this statement about Brando shows that he considered Brando to be very special, both as an actor and as a person. The idea that there might have been romantic feelings adds a layer of complexity to their relationship, making it more than just professional rivalry. Overall, Burton's comments highlight his admiration for Brando's talent, and his fascination with the possibility of a deeper connection, which may have influenced how he saw their interactions and their place in the world of cinema. Several discussions have been made about Richard Burton's sexuality, with some suggesting that he could have been a homosexual. It is often noted that Burton shared certain traits with other famous actors like Marlon Brando, particularly their reputation as womanizers and their high levels of libido. Both men were known for their passionate nature, which they directed towards women, and possibly beyond. Some people believe that Burton's behavior and attitudes towards sex were open and experimental, similar to Brando's, who once said that sex has no sex, and that it is a universal act that goes beyond simple labels. Brando's openness about his sexual experiences has led many to think that he was attracted to both men and women. He even admitted to having experiences with men, and stated that he was not ashamed about it, which made people speculate about his true sexual preferences. While there is no definitive proof about Burton's sexuality, the similarities in their personalities and their candidness about their sexual lives have invited similar assumptions and discussions about whether Burton might have shared a comparable openness and fluidity. Their openness and reputation for daring behavior helped challenge traditional ideas about sexuality, prompting many to question rigid labels and to believe that sexuality can be more complex and personal than society often recognizes. These perspectives add to the ongoing conversation about how some individuals embrace their sexuality without shame, and how public figures sometimes become symbols of broader acceptance. After hearing about Richard Burton's admission, many people were surprised because it was rare for such a famous actor to speak openly about personal struggles with sexuality. Burton, who was known for his powerful acting and intense personality, decided to share something very personal during a public interview. He confessed on air that he had experimented with men when he was younger. Burton did not say this was a mistake or something to be ashamed of. Instead, he explained that it was part of his life. He also revealed that he was not the only actor who felt this way. Burton mentioned that many actors of his time experienced similar feelings, but often used alcohol to hide or smother these impulses. According to him, drinks were used as a way to deal with inner conflicts and societal pressures. His openness shocked many because it challenged the common beliefs of that era when discussing sexuality publicly was still considered taboo. Burton's honesty about his experiences showed his courage to speak out in a time when many would stay silent out of fear or shame. His admission sparked conversations about identity and the struggles faced by people in the entertainment industry, especially those who felt they could not be truthful about who they truly were. Burton's words reflected not only his personal truth, but also the hidden realities of many others who battled with similar feelings behind the scenes. He believed that understanding and accepting oneself was important, and by sharing his story, he hoped to help others who felt the same way. His honesty opened a window into the complex life of an actor who was both admired for his talent and human in his vulnerabilities. Many respect him for his courage in revealing this part of his past, and his words continue to influence how people think about honesty in the world of fame and beyond. Certainly, here is the detailed response based on the provided information. In discussions about Richard Burton's life, there was an incident involving Elizabeth Taylor that drew attention. Elizabeth Taylor admitted that her two-time husband, Richard Burton, was attracted to men, and that he had tried to seduce her former husband, Eddie Fisher. This revelation suggested a complex and somewhat awkward love triangle, especially because at the same time, Richard Burton was having a passionate affair with Elizabeth Taylor herself. The situation would have been complicated further if it was true that Burton liked men, as it could have led to questions about his preferences and intentions. However, Graham Jenkins, who was Gavin's brother, and was known to be a nun in a Catholic community, dismissed Elizabeth Taylor's claims. He found the story unlikely and laughed at what Taylor had said. Graham Jenkins emphasized that if Richard Burton truly liked men, then he would have been a nun in a Catholic convent, which made the allegations seem even more improbable and exaggerated. This incident remains part of the many stories and rumors surrounding the lives of these famous personalities, highlighting how their relationships and personal lives were often the subject of speculation and controversy. Despite the rumors, Richard Burton is remembered for his remarkable acting talent and his passionate relationship with Elizabeth Taylor, which captured public attention for many years. Despite his successes as an actor, Richard Burton was well known for his womanizing ways. Graham understood this well, because Burton was known to love women deeply. It is said that he allegedly slept with around 2,500 women over the course of his life, a number that shows just how much he enjoyed romantic and physical relationships. Among all the women Burton was involved with, his relationship with Elizabeth Taylor was the most intense and famous. Their connection was so powerful that it almost took over their lives and careers. Their relationship was marked by passion, drama, and controversy, making it one of the most talked about romances of their time. The love they shared was complex and often turbulent, reflecting Burton's reputation as a womanizer and Taylor's equally strong personality. Their relationship not only captivated the public's attention, but also seemed to consume them emotionally. Even though Burton loved many women, his bond with Elizabeth Taylor was unique and left a lasting impact on both their lives. Their explosive relationship has been remembered as a defining part of Burton's life, illustrating his undeniable attraction to women and the turbulent nature of their love affair. Growing up, Richard Burton was born Richard Walter Jenkins Jr. on November 10, 1925, in a small Welsh village called Porthcawl, in West Glamorgan. From the beginning, his life was marked by a large family. He was the 12th child out of 13 children. His family background was modest, and he grew up in a close-knit community surrounded by countryside and small-town life. His childhood was shaped by the hardships and challenges typical of a large family, with limited resources and simple living conditions. The most significant event in his early life occurred when he was still very young, as his mother died following complications during childbirth. She had given birth to his brother Graham, and unfortunately, her death meant he lost his mother early in life. Because of her passing, he had fewer siblings than he might have otherwise had, as her death impacted his family's growth. Despite these early struggles, Burton's early life in Wales laid the foundation for his later passions and ambitions. He was known to be a bright child with a keen interest in storytelling and acting, which he developed at a young age. His humble beginnings and the loss of his mother played a significant role in shaping his character and determination. His early experiences in Porthcawl, combined with the strength he gained from overcoming adversity, eventually helped him to pursue a career in acting, leading to his later fame and success on stage and screen. Burton's early life remains an important part of understanding how he grew up and what shaped his personality before he became a renowned actor. Since his father was a coal miner who earned a small wage, Richard Burton grew up in a household where money was often tight. Despite these financial struggles, his father had many children, which meant that the family had to find ways to manage with limited resources. Besides working in the mines, his father also spent a lot of time gambling and drinking heavily, behaviors that were common among some miners at that time. These habits caused additional hardships for the family and created a difficult environment for young Richard. It is said that Burton inherited his father's love of drinking and gambling, which he would struggle with later in life. Growing up in such a setting, Richard learned firsthand about the challenges of poverty and the struggles of balancing desires with responsibilities. His father's lack of wealth and the risky habits showed Richard the importance of hard work and perseverance, but they also left a mark on him, influencing his personality and choices. Despite the hardships, Richard Burton managed to mature into a famous actor, but the influence of his father's lifestyle remained a part of his history. His father's struggles and traits shaped part of who he became, reminding him of the complex relationship between family background and personal growth. Since the beginning of his life, Richard Burton endured the difficult reality of his father's absence. His reputation for drinking worsened as he faced many personal misfortunes that added to his struggles. Burton's father was known to go on long drinking binges that could last for weeks at a time, leaving the family without his presence and support. During these absences, Burton and his family would often feel the emptiness caused by his father's lack of involvement and stability. His father's behavior contributed to a pattern seen in many families, where the father's absence creates emotional difficulties for the children. Burton grew up with a sense of loss, which influenced his later life and work. His father's heavy drinking and extended disappearances left a lasting impression on Burton, shaping his understanding of family and stability. This absentee father figure became part of Burton's story, reflecting the struggles faced by many children who grew up without consistent support or guidance. As Burton's reputation for drinking worsened over the years, it was seen by some as a reflection of his early experiences with his father's unreliability. His life was marked by the impact of an absent father, and this aspect of his background was recognized as a significant part of his personal history. The legacy of his father's alcohol abuse and long absences remained a shadow over Burton's life, influencing both his character and his choices. Despite these hardships, Burton's talent eventually earned him fame, but the absence of his father stayed with him in many ways, shaping his perspective on life and relationships. His story highlights how the absence of a father can have a lasting effect on a person's emotions, behaviors, and life choices. Burton's experience reminds us of the deep wounds caused by neglect and the importance of stable support, even as he found a path to success in acting. Eventually, Burton's struggles with personal issues were tied back to his childhood, revealing how early family difficulties can follow a person through life, influencing their reputation and personal